Do you ever give some serious thought to where you store your medicine and how you dispose of it? Well, if you're like a lot of people, you just keep your medicine in the medicine cabinet in the bathroom. That may not be the best place to put your medicine. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about the best place to store it, how to dispose of it properly, all kinds of things about medication management. So if you want to know more about this, just stay tuned. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Scan FYI. Yeah, we're talking about medication management today because it turns out it's a topic that people ask us about a lot. It's frequently discussed at our Lunch and Learns. And my guest today from Braven is Melisa Damcevska. Good morning, Melisa.
Good morning, Andrea. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure to talk to you. And for the people out there who don't know who you are, why don't you take a moment and just tell everyone who you are. I know we obviously know you're from Braven, but tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. So I am a health educator with the community outreach team over at Braven Health, and I do health and wellness presentations. So we have about 20 topics. We go out into the community and we do topics on heart health, healthy eating, fall prevention, brain games, and today we're talking about medications.
Most seniors, if you're out there, even people who aren't seniors, it does feel like almost everyone is taking something these days. And I do think a lot of people don't understand that where you put your medication can make a big difference. Excuse me, but before we even get to that, Melisa, explain the difference between a brand medicine, a generic medicine, and even what do we mean when we say OTC medicines?
Sure. So when we have our medications, we have, if they're prescribed by a doctor, that means that they need a prescription for it. You're just going to the doctor for it. You have some type of medical reason that they're giving you it, whether it's to manage your chronic condition, it's because you have the flu and they're prescribing an antiviral. We have our brand names and our generics. So our brand names typically tend to be more expensive. They have a lot of money in research, development, advertising that makes them more expensive. And they're usually protected by patents, meaning that a generic version of it can't come out for quite a while. When you have a generic, it means it has that same active ingredient as the brand name drug. And they also tend to be more affordable as well. So it's treating the same thing that the brand name treats. It has that same active ingredient. The FDA does require it to have the same quality and performance as the brand name drug. But again, they tend to be more affordable. And then when you have your OTC, that stands for over the counter. It means you don't need to see a doctor for it. You don't need a prescription for it. You can walk into your pharmacy and just pick up a medication from those medication aisles.
Yeah, and those are typically everything that you find just walking in and up and down the aisle, cold medicine, right, etc. Yeah, OTC.
And over-the-counter drugs do have generics as well. So your brand name would be something like an Aleve or an Advil, and then your generic would be like the store brand. When you walk in, you see a CVS ibuprofen or something like that. So over-the-counter drugs do have generics too.
That's right, because now it does seem like almost everything, whether it's Walgreens, CVS, you've got their brand name on it. But chemically and performance-wise, it's the same.
Yes, it has the same active ingredient. It treats the same thing it's meant to treat. Of course, always talk to your doctor. If there's any reason your doctor prefers you to have the brand name, go by your doctor's recommendation. But you can always ask your doctor if they're prescribing you a medicine. You can ask if there's a generic available for that drink.
So I'm sure even the most avid readers out there typically don't read the label on the little vial. And, there's some important information on there, isn't there? So why don't you go over that with us?
Right. So reading that medication label, whether it's a prescription drug, whether it's you're taking over-the-counter medicine because you've got the cold, the flu, a headache, we want to make sure we're paying attention to that prescription label. It's going to tell you the dose, which is how much you're supposed to take. And it's going to tell you the frequency, which is how often you're supposed to take it. Now, typically, many of us, when we're reaching for the ibuprofen or the Advil or the Tylenol, we know we typically grab 2 every 4 to 6 hours, but we want to be sure that we're paying attention to it. Because I've talked to people where they didn't realize they were taking a Tylenol extra strength and not a regular Tylenol. And the dose for that is different. The frequency for how often you take that is different. some medications can get a little wonky with how often you have to take it. Do you have to take it with food? Do you have to take it on an empty stomach? Do you have to take it in the morning? How spaced apart are they? Do you have to take it 4 times a day, 3 times a day? So this is really important when you think about how the medicine's building up in your system and treating what it's meant to treat.
Yeah, because your medicine is not going to be effective if you're not taking it based on what you're supposed to be taking it. If it says once a day in the morning and you take it 2 times a week, right? Which some people are very lax about that. And then you're wondering, well, this doesn't seem to be helping me. Well, let's face it, guys, we have to help ourselves. Read the label. It's right there.
Exactly. Yep. And I do want to note that even with your over the counters. I mean, we have this misconception of like, oh, it's over the counter. It's not prescribed by a doctor. I can take a little bit more. It's absolutely possible to overdose on an over the counter medicine. So we really want to be careful when we're paying attention to the doses of our medications.
Right. And that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. And of course, something else that you're going to find on the label, and maybe even the pharmacist is going to mention it, is the interactions with other drugs and possible side effects. Like some things, maybe you shouldn't even be out in the sun.
Yeah, that's something that we may not really pay much attention to. There are medications. These can include things like your antibiotics. They can be your NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, like ibuprofen or Aleve. They can make you a little more sensitive to the sun. So maybe something like a sun rash or more sensitive to a sunburn. So even something like your allergy medicine, Zyrtec, Claritin, can make us a little sensitive to the sun. So being mindful of that, wearing your SPF all the time, not even when you're taking these medications, but always wear your SPF. Wear a hat if you have to. Avoid peak sun hours.
Some medicines that you might be taking too, they might make you drowsy. Mm-hmm. You might not realize it if you don't read the label. And some of them have interactions with alcohol. So maybe that glass of wine or that cocktail is maybe not a good idea if you're taking certain medications. Again, read the label. Let the ask the pharmacist.
Yes, absolutely. Ask your doctor, ask the pharmacist whether that medication has any interactions with another medicine you might be taking, whether it could interact with even something like an herbal supplement or a vitamin that you're taking, a food that you eat, avoiding alcohol when you're taking certain medications.
That you just bring up a good point. I think that a lot of times if you're taking supplements or vitamins and whatnot, you just think, well, I'll just take them and they're not going to have any bearing on the medication that I'm taking. But, when your doctor or even the pharmacist says, are you taking any other medications? You should also be including those supplements or vitamins or anything else, because, right, it could actually be a factor in, again, your medication management.
Absolutely, yes. When your doctor asks you that question of do you take any other medications, they're not just asking you about any other prescription medicines. They have their chart, they know what they prescribed you, but do you have something prescribed from another doctor you saw, maybe a specialist? Are you taking a multivitamin? Are you taking some type of herbal supplement? So when your doctor asks you that question, make sure you have a list of everything you're taking.
So good point, because we always advocate that you should have a little, even if you put it on an index card, something that you keep with you at all times. Keep it in your wallet, keep it in your glove box, keep it at home. Because if you go somewhere and they want to know what are your medications, if you don't remember, at least you'll have something written down. Very important.
Absolutely.
And of course, what do you do with all this stuff when you're home? How do you store it? A lot of people don't realize that, well, again, the medicine chest in the bathroom. Melissa, not always the best place.
Right, yes. I know sometimes we call it the medicine cabinet in the bathroom, that bathroom vanity. The bathroom is actually not the best place to be storing your medicines. It's humid in there, it's always wet, it's warm, so that can actually degrade your medicines. It can cause them to not work as effectively. So we want to make sure we're storing our medicines in a cool, dry place. Whether you keep them in the drawer of a cabinet, you keep them in a dresser drawer, away from heat, away from the sun, away from humidity, cool, dry place.
So probably not in the bathroom.
No, not in the bathroom, not near your shower.
Toothpaste in the bathroom, put your makeup in the bathroom, your moisturizer, just not any medications. Right. So that's an important one. I really believe that most people are still putting their stuff in the medicine chest, but now you know better. And of course, how do we dispose of medicine? That's another issue for a lot of people. I see that people, they just toss it in the garbage.
Right.
Don't do that.
Yes, so when you are getting rid of your medications, and this is really more for when you're taking something like a prescription medicine. So depending on what that prescription medicine is, think about it. That medicine label has a lot of personal information on it.
Yes.
It has your name, it has your address, it has your doctor's name, it has your pharmacy, it has the condition that it might be treating. There's a lot of personal information on that bottle. So when you're getting rid of any leftover medication, one, we want to try to mix it with something that's undesirable. So something like ground coffee, cat litter, something that someone's we really don't want to start using, right? Because we don't want somebody going through our trash and then finding that medication. So mixing it with something, cross out with a Sharpie or tape something, cross out any identifying information on that bottle before you throw it in the garbage. The DEA does have, for some more restricted medications, they do have something called the DEA flush list. It's a list of medications that they do allow to be flushed. So you can take a look at that list. It's on the DEA's website. For the most part, you want to grind it up with cat litter, ground coffee, cross out your information, and throw it in the garbage to make sure that somebody else can't be going through that.
So you're making it as unappetizing as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm. You can also talk to your...
makes sense.
Absolutely. You can also talk to your doctor or to your pharmacy if they have any specific ways to dispose of a certain medication, especially if it's something like an injectable, talking to your doctor or your pharmacy about the best way to dispose of it.
So sometimes in the local police stations have these, I can't remember what they really call them, but they have, it's almost like a lockbox. It looks almost like a mailbox. Of course, it's chained down and guarded. And it's a place where you can bring expired medications or things that you're no longer using. So they're very safely disposed of, so that you could even check your local police department.
Yep.
Yeah, just don't. I totally agree with you. Just take that moment, take your magic marker, cross off your personal information, and just don't leave it out there.
And we also don't want to be leaving it in the cabinet because now we have expired medications and then the clutter. So take the time to go through your medicine cabinet, see what's expired, and see what you can get rid of.
Yeah, I do notice sometimes when I've been to people's homes and they'll have like this little bin and it's just filled with all sorts of things. And you'll say, oh, I have a headache. Could you just give me a Tylenol or something? And the thing expired 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, of course, expired medication should be disposed of naturally. But periodically, guys, go through all of your, especially your over-the-counter stuff. Anything that you have laying around, it's just, you got to get rid of it. And it is clutter. It is clutter. But also, you don't want to take something accidentally, and you don't want to leave something around the house that people who should not be getting into get into. So be careful. So that's another reason, being careful about where you store your medication. You don't want to leave everything out and about where somebody coming into your house, whether it's a worker, whether it's your grandkids, and don't say, no, not my grandkids. You don't want people just having immediate access to prescription medicine. That's important.
We want to make sure that we're keeping our medications away from children, pets, anybody who might be coming into the home, making sure that they're in a secure place.
Oh, pets too. That's right. Forgot about that. Yeah, sorry to all those little animals out there. Yeah. All right, so it turns out there is a lot more to it than just filling your prescription and letting it just, tucking it in the medicine chest. We have to be more careful. So, Melissa, final words on this topic.
Final words. I would say, again, keep an eye on your medications. Ask your doctor or pharmacist any questions you have. You want to make sure that you're taking your medication properly. You want to make sure you're taking it safely. And we want to make sure we're taking it the way we're supposed to. So I think I'll end on making sure that you're taking your medicine when you're supposed to. So whatever you have to do, are you setting a reminder? Are you setting an alarm? Do you use a pill box? Do you have one of those little caps that you attach to your bottle where you can mark the time of the last time you took a dose? I know so many of us have been there where we can't remember if we took our medication that morning, so they have those little time markers that you can put on the bottle. So just making sure we're taking our medication when we're supposed to, in the dose that it's meant to be taken, so it's treating what it's meant to treat.
Absolutely. Thank you. Melisa, thank you so much for being with me today. Always a pleasure. We always learn a lot from you and our friends at Braven. Thanks for being with me this morning.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Happy to be here.
So remember out there, if it's important to you, it's important to us. I'm Andrea Tarr, and we'll see you next time on Scan FYI. Bye, everyone. And bye, Melisa.
Thank you. Take care.